Hey, Slippery Rock Alliance friends and family, I hope that you're doing well today. I'm coming at you with another devotional from James chapter 3. And James has been challenging us to tame our tongues, meaning that we are to be in control of the things that we say, because the things that we say can be greatly damaging to the world around us. They can set fires in every area of our life. But the one who is in control of the things that they say are people who are spiritually transformed and have a changed heart. And the overflow of a transformed heart will affect every area of our lives. And so we want to ask this question today: how does God's wisdom change us? And James 3:13-18 is going to begin the conversation of how God's wisdom changes every aspect of our lives. So let's start in verse 13. It says this: "Who is wise and understanding among you? By his good conduct let him show his works in the meekness of wisdom." What I learn here is that we are to humbly live out our faith in God's wisdom. He asks a question. He says, who is it that is wise and understanding? Then he answers that question and he says it is the one who is living out his faith in good conduct. And he's doing it in a way that is meek or humble. Not that we are fragile or timid, but rather we are confident in God's wisdom without arrogance. And so we use God's wisdom to live a godly life. Then he goes on in verse 14 and he says this. He says, "But if you have bitter jealousy and selfish ambition in your hearts, do not boast and be false to the truth. This is not the wisdom that comes from above, but is earthly, unspiritual, demonic. For where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there will be disorder and every vile practice." What I learn here is that worldly wisdom teaches us the ways of jealousy and selfishness. That worldly wisdom leads to sinfulness. He says that if we have bitter jealousy and selfish ambition, then we are going to live in a false truth and we are going to be people that are boastful. This is from the enemy. And it's unspiritual and ultimately is damaging to our lives. Rather, we are to trade the worldly wisdom, earthly wisdom, for God's wisdom, wisdom that comes from above. And so he goes on in verse 17 and he says this. He says, "But the wisdom from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, open to reason, full of mercy and good fruits, impartial and sincere. And the harvest of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace." What I learn here is that godly wisdom selflessly makes peace. What he says is that wisdom from above must first come from a heart of purity. We must be living the godly life. We must be filled with the truth of God so that we are then living those things out in the world around us. Second, he says, we are peaceable and we are gentle. Rather than being aggressive and hostile towards those who do wrong to us, we seek peace and gentleness. We are also reasonable. We are open to reason. We are willing to deal with people in a way that seeks the most reasonable outcome. Then he says we are to be full of mercy. We are to be forgiving and offering grace to those around us, even if they don't deserve it. Just like Jesus offered us grace that we did not deserve. Jesus was merciful. Then he says to be bearing good fruits. We are to be filled with the fruit of the Spirit and living out those fruits in everyday life. And this is to lead to impartiality that allows the gospel to go to everyone, and it is also to lead to sincerity of faith. We are not to be fake Christians or fake people. We are to be genuinely living in the righteousness of Jesus Christ. If we do these things, he says that there will be a harvest of righteousness that sows peace in the world around us and it will make peace. A few ways I would encourage you to live as a result of what He's taught us today. The first way I would encourage you is to ask God for wisdom. He's already told us to do that in chapter 1. The second thing I would encourage you to do is to accept His wisdom. Don't be resistant to the truth of God, even if it rubs with the way that you have thought previously. And the third thing I would encourage you to do is to use His wisdom to make peace in the world around you. If you like this video, please give it a like and maybe share it with somebody that you care about. I hope you guys have a great week, and we will see you later. Take care.